مرحبا, أهلا وسهلا. Okay, we have made it now to Unit 9. We're going to finish up Unit 9 in this lesson. So we have talked already about حروف الشمسية والحروف القمرية. So moon letters and sun letters. And we said moon letters are the letters for which when you have alif lam, you pronounce the alif lam normally. Al-kitab. So moon letters are when you have alif lam and you look at the letter that's right after that lam. So in this case, it's the letter kaf. And you decide, do you use, if this is your tongue, do you use the front or the mid portion of your tongue when you're pronouncing that letter? So when we say ka, that's the back of our mouth. So that's not the front or mid portion of our tongue. So if we don't, then we simply pronounce the al like we normally do, al-kitab. Whereas حروف الشمسية are letters for which you do pronounce them using the front or the mid portion of your tongue. So for instance, if we have the word thobe, right, we look at this letter right here, the letter tha, that's after the alif lam. And when you say the letter tha, you're using the tip of your tongue against your front teeth, tha. So that means the tongue is being used, and so you do not pronounce the lam, you skip over it. And what we do is we put a shadda on top of the tha, and it gets pronounced a thobe. So we skip that lam altogether, a thobe. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of words. You guys are going to write them down. Okay. Al-ghurfa. Can just pause the video and then come back to it. Al-ghurfa. Al-ghurfa. Alif lam, because you hear the al. Gh, so we have a ghain with a dhamma. Gh. Ghur. That's the ra sound. Ghurfa. Vocab word, and it's a feminine word, means room. So we end it with the ta marbuta. Al-ghurfa. Okay, room. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, at-toot. At-toot. So here, when you hear the a and the next letter tu, ta, wow, you hear the ta here with a shadda. At-toot. I'm not saying a-toot. I'm saying at-toot. So when you hear a and the next letter, you hear it being pronounced twice, that means that's alif lam. So we put alif lam, and then we put the ta here. It's got a shadda because we're pronouncing it twice. Toot. A toot. The berries. Let's do another one. A-sayyara. A-sayyara. So you don't hear a-sayyara, you hear a-sayyara. So that sin has a shadda on it. If you hear the a and the next letter has a shadda, that means there is an alif lam. And you're simply not pronouncing it because it is shamsi. It's a sun letter. So we have s, shadda, say. We're going to stop on the ya. Ya gets pronounced a second time, so it's a shadda. Sayyara. It's a feminine word, means car. Huh? Car. A-sayyara. Let's do a couple other ones. Ar-rajul. 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 So you hear the ra twice. That means there's an alif lam. We're just pronouncing it with shadda because the ra is shamsi. Ar-rajul. Ar-rajul means man. Because it has alif lam, the man. Ar-rajul. Al-walad. Al-walad. The alif lam here is easy because we hear it. Al-walad. Al-walad. We know this word already, the boy or the kid. Let's do the feminine version. Al-bint. Al-bint. Al-b. bin, noon. Bint, ta, al-bint, which means the girl, or it can be the daughter. Same with al-walad, can also mean son. Al-qissa, al-qissa, al-q, qissa, sa. It's the ah sound, so that's a heavy sad. It's got a shadda because we're pronouncing it twice. It's a feminine word. Al-qissa, so what will it end with? Ta marbuta. Al-qissa means the story. Okay. I'm going to add some adjectives here as vocab words. طويل. طويل. Not ta, but ta. Short. Ta, fatha. Put the line there. Wow, yeah. Remember, they're not connected. Lam. طويل means long or tall. Abi, طويل, my dad is tall. أختي طويلة. So if it's feminine, of course, you would add a ta marbuta to the end. طويلة. أختي طويلة, my sister is tall. If we wanted to say a long story, okay, قصة. Let's rewrite that. Okay. قصة طويلة. So remember, when you're talking about a noun that's feminine, the adjective is also going to be feminine. Okay, let's do the opposite of this one. قصير. قصير. ق, فتحة, not qa, but qa. صي. It's not sir, it's not قصير, it's قصير. صي, صي, it's that heavy sound. Sad with a ya, ra. قصير, meaning short. So same thing, if you're describing a story, a short story, we would say قصيرة. قصة قصيرة. If you're talking about a woman who's short, we're going to use قصيرة. جميل. جميل. Ja, mim, ya, lam. Jamil, beautiful. Pretty. Can also be used for nice. Latif. La, not T, but ti. Ti, that heavy sound. La, with the heavy sound. Ti, ya, fa. Latif, meaning nice, pleasant. Like Queen Latifah, where does that come from? Latif. Okay. So here are just some adjectives and some words that we can work with. So if you're in the book, we are going to look at some of the prepositions that are in this book. So if we look at, let me flip to the page, 200. We'll start with page 200. So we're going to be getting into prepositions. But before we get into prepositions, we have to do a lesson on what we call Hamza al-wasl. Okay? Hamza al-wasl. Hamza al-wasl. And that is the eliding Hamza. Okay? The best translation is eliding Hamza. So we have what we've normally been doing, which is Hamza al-qat', which is a normal Hamza that you will see in a word, okay? And in this case, we're only focusing on the beginning of the word, so I'm going to show it to you with the Alif. So when you have a Hamza, and it's the beginning of the word, right? It's the first letter, this is how we write it. But we have some words in which we don't write the Hamza, even though it starts with the Hamza. So remember when we had Alif Lam, I had taught you guys that Alif Lam is originally a Hamza and a Lam. But because we use it so much, we just write it like this. We don't even write the Hamza. The reason why we don't write the Hamza, not only because we use it so frequently, but also because this Hamza is called Hamza al-wasl. And its symbol looks kind of like this, like a fish symbol. And technically, that alif should have this wasla, this shape on top of it. But because we use it so much, you're really rarely going to see it. Okay, so I'm just showing you the shape, so in case you ever see it, you'll know what that means. You'll see this shape a lot in classical Arabic books. If you look at Quranic Arabic, you'll see this shape come up a lot. And all it means is that it is the Hamza that you can skip over. You do not have to pronounce it. Okay? So, what does that mean? That means that when we have a sentence that has multiple words in it, okay? When you have a sentence that has multiple words in it, what you can do is you can skip over this wasla, you can skip over this hamza al-wasl, and connect the previous word with the lam. And that's why last lesson I had said that Arabic is a connected speech, which means that when you have words together in a sentence, we say those words connected to each other, not just separately. Okay? So I'm going to give you some examples. If you look at the bottom of page 200, okay, we're going to look at some examples from there. Abi al-Aziz. Aziz means dear. So we're saying my dearest father, my dear father. Now, if you look at it, normally you would say, okay, Abi al-Aziz. So those are two separate words. But when we have a sentence, what we actually want to do is we want to pronounce those words together. We don't want to separate those words when we're pronouncing it. And so what we do is this. We take the last vowel of this word, Abi, and we want to connect it to this al. So this alif is actually a Hamza al-wasl. It's a Hamza that doesn't get written because you can skip over it. So the way that we would skip over it is we take this last vowel from the word before, Abi, the E sound, and we connect that to the lam here. So we skip over this alif, and instead of saying al, we say abil. We connect this Abi, the E sound, to the L, and it becomes, it kind of sounds like il. Abil Aziz. Okay, meaning my dearest father. There's Zay here. Okay, so I'll give you another example. Let's look at number 6. رقم 6. Okay. ميم ضمة مو دال فتحة راء شدة مدر راء كسرة ره مدرسو. Okay. مدرسو means teachers. Okay. مدرسو, and then we have al-jami'a. Anytime you have al, that first alif in it is actually Hamza al-wasl, which means you don't have to break the two, you can connect them. So we take the u sound here that we have on the scene, مدرسو, and we skip over this alif altogether and we jump to this lam. So we take su and connect it to a lam with a sukun. Sul. Mudarrisul jami'a. Mudarrisul jami'a. So you'll hear this sul in between. Mudarrisul jami'a. So what that does is it allows you to connect those two words together when you pronounce them. Okay. Let's do another example. Okay, I'll give you a minute, pause the video, and then come back to it. Okay, so the first word we have alif lam al. قاف كسرة صاد شدة القصة. And on the ta marbuta, you have a haraka. If you have a word that has a ta marbuta and the ta marbuta has a haraka on it, that means you pronounce the ta sound with that haraka. So here it's a dhamma, so it's tu. Al-qissatu, al-qa, si, sad, ya, ra, ta marbuta, al-qasira. So to connect the two, the alif lam here, that alif is a wasla, we're going to skip over it. And we're going to take the tu sound and we're going to connect it here to this lam. Al-qissatul qasira. Al-qissatul qasira. Okay. So when you have alif lam, okay, alif lam, the first letter in it is actually Hamza al-wasl. So anytime you see a word that has alif lam and there's a word before it, we're going to connect the two together when we read them. Okay? Now, let's look at an example. I'll do it on the next page. Let's look at an example where we have a letter that is shamsi. Okay? Okay. Let's look at, which one do I want to give you? Okay. I'm going to use the word fi. And the word sayyara. We want to say in the car. So normally you would say, okay, this is fi. And how do we pronounce the car? Do we say al or do we say as? Good, we say as because seen here after the alif lam is harf shamsi. That's why there's a shadda here. Okay, so that means what we're going to do is we're going to pronounce the seen. We're going to skip this lam and we're going to pronounce the seen. So it becomes as-sayyara, right? Now, when you have a word like this, you have alif lam and the next letter is shamsi, and then you have a fi before it or any word before it. This wasla, this alif, we can skip that. And normally you would go to this lam. But in this word, do you pronounce the lam? Do we say al? We don't. And the reason why is because the next letter is shamsi. So instead of connecting it to the lam, we're going to connect it to that shadda. So instead of saying fi as-sayyara, we're going to connect this fi to that seen. Fis-sayyara. And it's going to sound like this. Fis-sayyara. Okay. So one of the things that you want to know is that when you have two words, okay, like this, and the second word has alif lam, whatever the vowel is on the word before it. So if it's a short vowel, it's easy. You just take that short vowel and you connect it either to the lam or to the next letter if it's a letter that is shamsi. If you have alif lam and the word before it ends with a long vowel, that long vowel sound when you connect it is going to shorten, just so it's easier to pronounce. So it's easier, instead of saying fi sayyara, it's easier to say fis sayyara. So that long vowel ya is going to end up sounding like a kasra. This is what it's going to sound like. Fis sayyara. But when you hear me say fis sayyara and you want to write it down, if you hear the two words are connected, that means that there is an alif lam in between. So think of it like this. Anytime you hear fi and the next letter has a shadda, automatically you should think to yourself, okay, it's the word fi and that word has an alif lam. Okay? So you're going to connect them when you're pronouncing them. So let's do a couple other examples with fi. And then after we do that, we're going to work on some other prepositions. So I'll write them down and then you will pause the video and try to read them. Okay. Okay, so in the first one you have fi, and the second word you have al-bayt. You have alif lam, and the next letter is a ba. You don't use your tongue to pronounce the ba. That means you pronounce that lam with a sukun. You have a fi, so you're going to take the shortened sound of the e and you're going to connect it to that lam. So instead of saying fi al-bayt, we're going to say fil bayt, meaning in the house or at home. Fil bayt. Now the second one, you have fi, and you have the word al-maktaba. So here we have a meme. You use your lips to pronounce meme. You don't use your tongue. Therefore, it is a sun letter. So we're going to pronounce that lam. Al-maktaba. So if I have fi with it, we're going to connect that to that lam. Instead of saying fi al, we're going to say fil. Fil maktaba. Meaning in the library. Fil maktaba. Now in this last example here, we have alif lam and then a sheen. The letter sheen uses the sides of your tongue. So we have sheen, sh, using your tongue. It's a sun letter. So that means we're going to put a shadda on top of it. Okay? Fish-shari'. So when we connect it, it's going to connect to that shadda. We're going to skip over this alif, and we can't pronounce the lam because it's a sun letter. So we skip over it and we say fish-shari'. Okay? In the street. Okay? In the street or on the street. Whatever you have. So these are the ways that we pronounce when we have two words next to each other. Okay? So if you flip to page 202, I want to give you a couple of examples of other pronouns to practice with. Fi means in or at. We already know this one. Okay? Another one, min, which you guys already know, means from. We said min aina ant, where are you from? And what I want you to note for the word min is you put a fatha on top of the noon. This is called a helping vowel. So anytime you have the word min, and after you have an alif lam, for instance, let's say we want to say al-maktaba, always pronounce it with a fatha on that noon. And that way you can connect the noon with the fatha na to the next letter, min al-maktaba. So note to yourself, noon will always be pronounced with the fatha if the word after it has alif lam. Okay. Okay, so we have fi, we have min, ma'a, pronounced with the fatha in both letters, ma'a, ma'a. And ma'a means with. Okay, and it's usually, not always, but usually with people. If I say ana ma'a zawji, I'm with my husband. Okay, ma'a ukhti, with my sister. Ma'a. And the last one is bi, with a kasra. And bi has a lot of different meanings. Okay, it means with when you're talking about things, like sugar with tea. It can also mean by, like by way of. I came by car, I came by bus. Okay. Bi can also mean in, like if we say bil bayt, can also mean in. The thing that's important about the bi is that it always gets attached to the word. So if I want to say, for instance, by car, I have the word sayyara, and I want to use bi, by car. The way that you're going to do it is you're going to attach the bi to the beginning of the word. Okay, so bi always gets attached to the word that you want to say with what. Okay, and in pronunciation, so when we say this word as-sayyara, this alif is a Hamza al-wasl, we skip it. We can't pronounce the lam here because sin is a sun letter. So what we do then is we take the bi with a kasra, bi, and we just skip straight to that sin. Bis. Bi, ba with a kasra, and seen shadda. So stop on the seen. Bis, and then the seen has a fatha on it. Bis sayyara, meaning by car. Okay. So you're going to use these in practice, and then in the next exercise, I have plenty of reading examples, and I'm going to go through those reading examples with you.